Alright, what's up, everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be looking at NBA draft rumors, some trades, some potential, draft players going to different teams, all the stuff surrounding the draft here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that, description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the NBA draft is coming up very soon, in about 9 days from now as I'm recording this, and there's some stuff to talk about. A lot of rumors and stuff going around. I had some notes talking about some of the draft rumors that I saw, and I want to talk about the first one about the Atlanta Hawks. Of course, the Atlanta Hawks have the number one overall pick in the draft. There's been a lot of speculation about who they're going to pick, what's going to happen this offseason with them, with trades. Is Trae Young getting traded? Is DeJounte Murray getting traded? Or both of them getting traded? Or none of them getting traded? Who knows? And there's reports that came out the last couple of days saying the Hawks might be looking to trade out of the number one overall pick and trade down because they really like Donovan Clingan, big man out of UConn. They really, really like him and potentially could trade down to draft him. And honestly, when I saw the report and thinking about, that, if they're talking like that, that I think that points towards the direction of Trey DeJounte might be staying in Atlanta. Clingan, obviously, really, really good player. I think he's going to have a really, really good career. Big man that can do a lot of different things. He can defensively, he's going to be really, really good. Of course, big guy, shot blocking, rebounding, pick lob threat. He can do all that. And thinking about with the Atlanta Hawks, they potentially could have the number one pick and could draft either Alex or Zachary Rasai, who look like they probably are the top two players in this draft class right now. Them trading down to go get Clingan, more of a role player type of guy that would fit along with a Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. 2 point guards that can give him the ball and he could, be lob partner, especially with Clint Capella getting a little bit older, I guess. And the Hawks want to go a little younger, so Clingan will come in and replace Capella, even though they do have Yuka Okongwu as well. That just makes me feel like they're moving towards a direction of kind of keeping packed and hoping that it works for another year, or at least maybe keeping one of them. I think they could trade DeJounte, still trade down and get Clingan, and have Trae and DeJounte, Trae and Donovan Clingan. That could be a thing. But seeing them talk like that, seeing those reports come out, makes me feel like they're leaning more towards keeping this team together and not a rebuild. Which I didn't really expect a rebuild. I didn't expect both of them to get traded. I expected probably at least one of them to get moved, and I still do believe that one of them should be and probably will be moved in this offseason. But them, hearing this report makes me feel like they're gonna maybe keep packed if they do this trade. Now, again, there's all rumors and stuff. This could not happen, but if they do it, thinking about teams that could want to trade up, I mean, Jonathan Clingan, I think like after number two, it's kind of like anything's out there from 3 to like 9. I feel like anything's out there for him. So maybe if they want to trade down to maybe 4, because the Spurs have the 4 pick, which is funny because the next thing I'm going to talk about is about the Spurs as well. But Spurs, even though they do have Wemby, unless they want to do Wemby and unless they want Wemby and they want Alex Sarr, Alex Sarr Wemby, the French duo, the French Twin Towers together. I don't know. Um, the Wizards potentially could move up from 2 to 1. To draft Alex Sarr. I feel like the Wizards would do that, even though I don't know about Donovan Clingan at number 2 for the Hawks, but we'll see. But yeah, that could be. I think that could be a good thing for the Hawks. The Hawks are in a very interesting position for the number one overall pick. I do feel like Alex Sarr, Zachary Versace will really help them a whole lot. I don't know if any of them are going to be superstar players, but I think they're both going to be really good players in the league. And keeping one of the guards with one of those guys would be nice, or maybe even trading both of them. Maybe having Alex Sarr and kind of the Hawks saying, you know what, let's just blow everything up and let's start this over would be a good idea. I think the Hawks are in a solid position regardless. I feel like the only bad decision they could make is if they keep Trey and DeJounte another year together, honestly. That's what I feel like. I just don't feel like Trey and DeJounte are going to work at this point. So I feel like one of them should leave. Next thing to talk about is the Spurs. I just brought them up. Saw those reports. I think ESPN reported saying that the Spurs could maybe trade up because they like Zachary Rasai Shea. And maybe that could be something for the San Antonio Spurs. They do have the number 4 pick and the number 8 pick in the lottery, so maybe if they want to trade both of those to trade up and maybe trade up to 2 with the Wizards, or maybe they could be the one that could trade up number 1 with the Atlanta Hawks. They could swap and they can get Zachary Versace at 1, and then the Spurs or the Hawks can get Klingon at 4. Maybe the Hawks also can get the 8th pick. I don't know if the Hawks feel if they want to get 4 and 8 potentially, or they want to use 4 and then maybe they can take 8 and they can flip it to somewhere else to get something. I don't know. But the Spurs trading up for Zachary Versace. I think Versace is a really solid player, especially the Spurs already have Wemby. Obviously, we know Wemby's going to be an amazing player. So just putting the pieces around it would be nice. And getting a guy like Zachary Versace, a big forward that could shoot the ball, he could score, he potentially could be a good defender as well. Why not have it? You know, you do have Devin Vassell, but he's more of a guard wing. Having a bigger 6'9", I think Zachary is, wing to do that. Kind of maybe Michael Porter Jr. S type of vibes a little bit. I think that could be really, really good for the San Antonio Spurs. You know, trading up to draft him, or maybe trading up to 2 with the Washington Wizards, and the Wizards will take 2, 4, and 8. Potentially, depending on how much the Spurs actually do want Versace, if they're willing to give up 4 and 8 to go get him, I don't really know. But if they are willing, I feel like if I'm the Hawks or the Wizards, I would take that. You know, you might move down the draft, but if you're the Hawks, looks like you want to move down. If you're the Wizards, you can get 2 lottery picks, which you're a team that desperately needs young talent right now. So the Wizards getting 2, 4, and 8 to get 2 good young players, I think would be really nice. So yeah, that's interesting for the San Antonio Spurs. And well, I had another note about the Spurs to talk about it now here too. Rob Dillingham. There's reports saying that Rob Dillingham's camp wants to go to San Antonio, wants to team up with Wemby. The Spurs are, I would bet that they're going to take a young point guard in the draft, whether it's him, whether it's Nikola Topic, whether it's Stephon Castle, potentially, even though he's not really a point guard, but he can't play point guard. You know, like the Spurs are they have 2 lottery picks. One of them is going to be a guard, and I think Rob Dillingham will be a nice fit. You know, he's the guy that he could be the guy in this draft that could be the best player potentially. He has that kind of potential, you know, a guard that can score, you know, about his scoring ability. He could play off the ball, he can play on the ball, he can get to the rim, he's got nice moves, he can be a highlight reel type player. He could score in bunches potentially. And going to a team with the Spurs that of course are really good at developing point guards and really good at, you know, a really good organization obviously. Already having Victor Wembanyama, kind of a safety blanket that you can feed as a point guard to your center, that kind of connection. And yeah, being with Pop, being in a good system, being already having a star in Wemby, like that's a good situation to be. And anybody, not just Dillingham, but for anybody, that's a good situation to be in. And Rob Dillingham's camp want to go to San Antonio. I can see it happening. You know, I really can't see it happen. I really feel like that would be a good move, and I think that should be something they want. That should be something they want to get to a program or organization, you know, that has the structure that the Spurs have. So Spurs are a very interesting player at the draft. Obviously, they have the 4 pick, they have the 8 pick, they have Victor Wembanyama. They could draft 2 more young players to put next to him, or they could potentially package those and trade them to go get a star. There's been some talks about that. I'm more leaning on the side that they're going to keep the picks and make the selection to draft the young players at this point, because I have not seen as much kind of talk about them trading their picks for a star player as much as I thought I was. So that's making me lean towards the fact that they're probably going to keep their picks and just try to build these young guys up with Wemby and not try to go for the home run hit just yet. But we'll see what happens. But Rob Dillingham, I'm a big fan. I really hope he does work out in the league. I think him in San Antonio would be really nice. Next, we have more potential draft trade. The Houston Rockets. They hold the number 3 overall pick in the draft, and there's been talks ever since the draft lottery, and they found out we got the number 3 pick, that they will be willing to trade the number 3 pick for a win now player. Obviously, the Rockets were only a couple games away from making the play-in last year. We assume that with these young talent, they're gonna get better. They already have so much young talent. They have Jalen Green, Operation Goon, who looks like he's gonna be an all-star type player. Amen Thompson was really great in the second half of the season. Jabari Smith Jr. is gonna be a really good player. Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason. They have so much good young talent right now. And while adding another guy with young talent is obviously amazing for them, it's not something they necessarily need right now. And if or when now type of player becomes available, the Rockets could be a team that could do that with having the number 3 overall pick, with having some young talent that could that they could use in trades. potentially getting a win now player could be nice. Mikal Bridges has been a guy I've been thinking about, obviously, but there's been a lot of reports in the last couple of days saying the Nets aren't willing to give up Mikal Bridges, which that's a whole other can of worms I'm not going to get into right now. But a win now player is interesting because at this point, I don't really know what win now player is out there right now. Like the only players I think are out there that would be like win now that the Rockets would want. Like I was thinking Brandon Ingram, but I don't know if the Rockets really would want a Brandon Ingram, especially on the last year of his deal. You're gonna have to pay him. You're gonna have so many young stars they're gonna have to pay as well. So I don't know if they want to do that. I don't know if Brandon Ingram is worth that much. Number 3 overall pick and some other stuff. I don't really know. There's been talk about Donovan Mitchell, but I don't really know what's going on with the Donovan Mitchell situation in Cleveland, if he's staying or not. That's a whole thing. They do have a package potentially for Donovan Mitchell, but I don't know if that's really gonna work. So yeah, it's just interesting to see like what win now players are available. Because right now, looking around the league, I don't really know how many win now players that the Rockets will want are available. But I like the idea of the Rockets, going in and trading the number 3 overall pick to go get something valuable for them. But if they do keep the pick, I think that's nice. I think a guy like Reed Shepard would be really nice for them. A good guard that could just come in and knows how to play his game. I think that would be a perfect pick for the Houston Rockets. I am very interested to see if anybody. I feel like the last couple years, every year, there's always been so much talk before the draft, like, oh yeah, all these trades are gonna go down and all this stuff is happening, and then nothing ever happens. So I've kind of been conditioned to the point where I don't expect any trades at the draft for me personally. The last couple years, I've always been like, no trade's gonna happen and nothing big and major has happened. But I do feel like if there's any draft to make trades, I feel like it is this draft. With this draft being people perceiving it as quote unquote weak, even though I don't think it's a really weak draft, it's just not a star-studded draft like we've seen. We haven't had. There's no Anthony Edwards or Zion Williamson or any like that or Wemby or anything like that in the draft. But I still feel like there are a lot of good players that are gonna have really long careers and going to be really impactful to winning in this draft. And so I feel like with how many teams are being competitive right now, with how many teams are trying to take it to the next level, teams like the Spurs, teams like the Rockets, teams like all these teams that are trying to go to the next level and start competing and start winning with these young guys. I feel like if there's any draft for trades to happen, especially in the top 5, top 10, this will be the draft. This would be the draft to have. So I don't want to get my hopes up and expect all these trades to happen, and it's not going to happen. But I will not be super surprised or caught off guard if this is the year that we do see a lot of trades at the NBA draft. The last thing I'm talking about is Bronny James. I don't think I've talked about Bronny at all so far on this channel or stuff about his draft status and all that stuff like that. But of course, it has been one of the biggest, if not maybe the biggest, talking point of this NBA draft. Has been Bronny James for obvious reasons. Which is interesting because obviously it is Bronny James and we could see history and it's LeBron style, so obviously everyone's gonna want to talk about it and stuff. But I feel like it also takes away from a lot of the other guys because Bronny, we all know, Bronny is not gonna be a top pick in the draft. If he was a top pick in the draft, then obviously, if he was a projected top 10 guy, then yes, talk about him, do all that stuff. But there's like a 95% chance he's not going to be a first round pick. And we are kind of headlining him in this draft. And ESPN and everybody is only talking about and only focusing on Bronny James. It's interesting because we do have so many guys like Alex Sarr, Zachary Rasaiche, Rob Dillingham, Donovan Clingan, Reed Shepard, all these guys that could be better potentially than Bronny. Yet no one's really giving them the light of day, and a lot of people probably don't even know really about Alex Sarr, Zachary. Like I feel like the casual or the fans that are in the draft that don't really watch college basketball and stuff and don't really care about it until like around the draft. I feel like they don't even really know about who Alex Sarr, Zachary Cedric, like what their really strengths are, who they really are. They just know them as names that are going to be in the top of the draft. That's all they really know. So it's an interesting thing there. But I'll give him my couple minutes for Bronny. Obviously there's been a lot of talk about him, where he's going to potentially go, draft workouts. He's worked out for the Lakers, the Suns. He's been declining workouts. There's been teams potentially like the Dallas Mavericks I've saw that could potentially be interested in him with their second round pick they have. I want to look at the second round picks really, really, really quick. Look at them. Okay, here we go. Yeah, they have the 58th pick, the last pick in the draft. So maybe that could be a thing. I don't really know. Um, there's been projections of maybe the Celtics, maybe a team in the 40s potentially grab. I saw a report from Jonathan Wasserman, I think it was today, or Jonathan Cavoni, one of those guys that are really involved with the draft, that said, he's projected around the 55, 54, but I won't be surprised if he goes much higher than that. That potentially could be an early second round pick. If the Suns want to use their first round pick on him at 22, because that's the only pick they have in this draft, that's a move. That's definitely a move by the Suns, obviously. But yeah, honestly, for me personally, I feel like at the very least, five to the Lakers. Like I could dang near, put money on the fact that at the very, very least, if all else fails and the Suns don't pick him, or anybody in the 40s and 30s don't pick him, he'll have a spot in the Lakers at 55. He'll have a spot in the Lakers at 55 because, yeah, he will. At the very least, he will, which is what I'm expecting to see happen with Bronny. You know, just because he's the 55th overall pick doesn't mean he can't be a good player. I honestly do think Bronny can find a role for himself in the league. I think he's a good enough player where he's gonna find a way to have a good career. You know, do I like that he went to the draft this year? Honestly, I feel like he should have stayed another year in college, especially coming off, the heart thing, coming in halfway-ish through the year. USC didn't really have a good year. It took him a little while to really ramp up. I feel like coming back this year, going to potentially a new team, he was in the transfer portal and stuff. I feel like he probably could have benefited a whole lot from being, having one more year in college to really show what he's about and then coming to the draft. I personally do feel like that would have been the right move. But he's already declared for the draft. He's probably gonna get drafted. So if he does, then he accomplishes his goal. So you can't really be too mad about that. But I definitely do believe that Bronny will find a way. I just don't know if the Lakers is the right move with his dad, honestly. I just don't know if that's the right move. Obviously getting a chance to play with the Lakers, chance to play with your father, obviously that's awesome. That's amazing. But is this thinking about him for the rest of his career? Would that be the right move? Being with the Lakers, being on a team that already wants to win now, being with your dad, already having that much media and attention going towards you, and then the locker room stuff with Bronny and Bron, how they're gonna treat. Is he gonna be traded equally as a teammate, or is he gonna be traded differently? How's that gonna affect the players? How's that gonna affect everybody else? Like, is he gonna get certain privileges and stuff? Like that is just that whole side of it is kind of one of the reasons why it's like, I don't know how good that is for him. But we can only wait and see. We can only wait and see on what happens. I can guarantee he's probably gonna be a Laker next year. And if he does, then hey, that's cool. I just want Bronny to succeed, want him to have a good career, and want to see the best for him, obviously. So whatever happens, happens. But yeah, it's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.